Excuse me, the maintenance staff entrance is around back. Professor David Chen's voice echoed across the university lecture hall, and I just stood there at the podium, my hands gripping my notes, my heart shattering into a million pieces. You know what's funny? I'd spent 3 months preparing this guest lecture, 3 months researching, writing, rehearsing. I was so excited. This was Harvard, my dream school, the place that rejected me twice as an undergrad because I wasn't Harvard material. But here I was, Dr. Maya Johnson, PhD from MIT, published 47 papers, invited as a guest lecturer in advanced quantum physics. Except Professor Chen didn't see any of that. He saw a black woman in a simple dress from Target, no designer labels, no expensive jewelry, just me. "Sir, I'm your guest lecturer," I said quietly. My voice was shaking. "Dr. Maya Johnson, quantum physics, you invited me." Professor Chen's face went red, not with embarrassment, with irritation. "That's impossible. Dr. Johnson is supposed to be—" He paused, and I knew exactly what word he was swallowing. "More established. You must be confused. Perhaps you're looking for the cafeteria? They're hiring." 300 students watched. Phones came out, recordings started, and something inside me just broke. Not with anger, with exhaustion. Because this wasn't the first time. It was the 100th time, the 1000th time. "Professor Chen," I said, and this time my voice carried across the hall, clear, strong. "I have my invitation email. I have my ID. I have my presentation ready. What do I not have? What exactly am I missing that makes you think I work in the cafeteria?" The hall went silent because everyone knew. They all knew. I pulled out my phone, showed him the email from the physics department chair, date, time, topic, my credentials. Chen's arrogance cracked, just slightly. "Well, there must have been some miscommunication. Your credentials seem unconventional. MIT isn't really known for quantum physics at your level." I smiled, that painful smile you learn after years of being underestimated. "MIT isn't known for quantum physics? Professor, MIT has produced 8 Nobel Prize winners in physics. How many has Harvard produced in the last decade?" That's not the point. The point is that you assumed. You looked at me and decided I couldn't possibly be Dr. Johnson, because Dr. Johnson should look different, should look more established. A student in the front row, Emma Rodriguez, was live streaming to TikTok, 4,200 viewers. "Professor Chen," I continued, "before you decide whether I'm qualified to teach this class, maybe you should know something." I opened my briefcase. Not a fancy leather one, just a worn canvas bag I'd carried since grad school. Inside, a letter, dated 3 weeks ago. "Harvard University, Department of Physics, new department chair appointment, Dr. Maya Johnson, effective January 1st. I handed it to him, watched the color drain from his face. "I'm not just your guest lecturer, Professor Chen. As of next month, I'm your new boss." You ever spend your whole life being told you're not good enough, only to become the person in charge? This is my story, and it's messier than you think. 15 years earlier, same building. I was 18 years old, standing in the Harvard admissions office. My acceptance letter had been a mistake, they said, a clerical error. "Miss Johnson," the admissions counselor said, not meeting my eyes, "your test scores are adequate, but Harvard looks for students with a certain pedigree. Have you considered community college? It might be a better fit." My mother was a nurse, single parent. We'd celebrated that acceptance letter for 3 days. She'd cried, I'd cried, we'd planned everything. And then they took it away. A clerical error. I left that office and sat on the steps outside, crying, broken. An old janitor sat next to me. Black man, maybe 70 years old. They'd tell you no, he asked. I nodded, too hurt to speak. Let me tell you something, child. They gonna tell you no a lot, your whole life. No, you can't. No, you don't belong. No, you're not good enough. He looked at the Harvard seal above the door. But here's the secret. You make them say no so many times, work so hard, achieve so much, that one day you walk back through that door and you don't ask for permission. You own the room. I never saw that janitor again, but I never forgot his words. Lecture hall. Now. Professor Chen was reading my appointment letter, his hands trembling. This can't be legitimate. The search committee didn't mention that a black woman was being considered. I finished his sentence. Shocking. The students were frozen. This wasn't a lecture about quantum physics anymore. This was about something bigger. I turned to face them. 300 future scientists, future professors, future leaders. Can someone tell me what's happening right now? I asked the class. Silence. Come on, you're Harvard students, top of your class. Analyze this situation. A brave student, James Chen, no relation to the professor, raised his hand. You're being discriminated against, Dr. Johnson, because of your race and probably your gender. Thank you, James. And can someone tell me what Professor Chen is feeling right now? Another student, Sarah Williams. Fear, because he's been caught. Partly right, I said, but it's more complex than that. Professor Chen isn't evil. He's not wearing a hood and burning crosses. He's just conditioned to believe that excellence looks a certain way. I turned back to Chen. He looked smaller now, older, tired. Professor, how long have you taught here? 23 years, he whispered. 23 years. And in those 23 years, how many black faculty members have you had in your department? He couldn't answer. I checked. The answer is 2. In the entire physics department. 2 black professors out of 47 faculty members. That's 4.2%. Black people make up 13% of the U.S. population. Why the gap? It's about qualifications, not race. Is it? Because I've reviewed the hiring records. You know what I found? I pulled up data on the projection screen. Harvard Physics Department hiring data, 2010 to 2023. White male applicants accepted, 34%. White female applicants accepted, 18%. Black male applicants accepted, 6%. Black female applicants accepted, 2%. Average publications at time of hiring. White males, 12 papers. Black females, 31 papers. Black women need to publish almost 3 times as many papers to get the same positions, I said. That's not about qualification, that's about bias. Emma's live stream hit 12,000 viewers. #Harvard Racism trending. Department Chair's office, 2 hours later. The dean, Dr. Patricia Morrison, sat across from me. Professor Chen stood in the corner, looking like he wanted to disappear. Dr. Johnson, Dean Morrison said carefully, I want to apologize for today's incident. Incident? I repeated. Is that what we're calling it? Poor choice of words. Professor Chen's behavior was unacceptable. He will be disciplined. Disciplined how? Sensitivity training? A written warning? And then what? He goes back to teaching, still believing black women don't belong? I leaned forward. Dean Morrison, I haven't accepted the department chair position yet. I was considering it. Past tense, because today showed me that Harvard hasn't changed since they rejected me 15 years ago. Her face went pale. You were rejected from Harvard? Twice, as an undergrad. They said I wasn't Harvard material, suggested community college instead. The dean closed her eyes. Dr. Johnson, I went to MIT, got my PhD, published more papers than half your current faculty combined, won awards your professors only dream about. And today, I walked into my own lecture hall and was told I looked like I work in the cafeteria. Professor Chen found his voice. Dr. Johnson, I didn't know. I never imagined. That's the problem, Professor. You never imagined. It never occurred to you that a Black woman could be the expert in the room, that she could be more qualified than you? I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough. My voice cracked. The armor broke. Do you know how many times I've been mistaken for staff, for cleaning crew, for someone who couldn't possibly belong in academic spaces? I pulled out my phone, showed them photos. Stanford Conference 2019. Security stopped me, said I needed an attendee badge. I was the keynote speaker. MIT Symposium 2021. Professor asked me to get him coffee. I was presenting after him. Caltech 2022. Someone asked if I was lost. I was interviewing for department chair. Tears fell. I didn't wipe them away. I'm tired. I'm so tired of proving I belong, of showing my credentials, of being exceptional just to be considered equal. The office was silent, except for my tears. So, here's what's going to happen, I said, composing myself. I'm going to accept the department chair position, not because Harvard deserves me, but because every Black girl who gets rejected needs to see someone who looks like her walk back through that door. The transformation plan. I pulled up my presentation, the one I was supposed to give in the lecture hall. Harvard Physics Department Equity Initiative. Blind hiring process, names removed from applications. Mandatory anti-bias training, not optional. Diverse hiring committee, no all-white panels. Pipeline programs, partner with HBCUs. Accountability metrics, public reporting. Zero tolerance policy, discrimination equals termination. This is non-negotiable, I said. If I'm taking this position, we're fixing this, all of it. Dean Morrison studied the slides. This will upset people. Faculty who've been here for decades? Good, they should be upset. They should be uncomfortable. Because students like Emma Rodriguez, like James Chen, like every Black and brown student watching this go viral, they're watching to see if we actually change. I turned to Professor Chen. And you, Professor, you have a choice. You can retire, take your pension, leave quietly. Or you can stay and help me fix this. Admit what you did, use your privilege to push for change. Chen looked at me, really looked at me for the first time. I want to stay, he said quietly. I want to learn, to do better. It won't be easy. You'll have to confront bias you didn't know you had. You'll be uncomfortable. People will judge you. I know. But I thought about my own daughter. She's in grad school, physics. And if someone treated her the way I treated you, his voice broke. Then let's get to work. 6 months later, the Harvard Physics Department looked different, felt different. We'd hired 8 new faculty members. 5 were people of color, 4 were women. All were exceptional. Professor Chen had become an unlikely ally. He'd given a TEDx talk, What I Got Wrong, a senior professor's journey from bias to allyship, 2.3 million views. The student body had transformed. Applications from underrepresented minorities up 340%. Because they saw someone who looked like them leading the department. And Emma Rodriguez, she'd become our student ambassador. Her viral video had 8.7 million views. The comment section was still going. But the real change was quieter. It was the Black girl who walked into my office, nervous, and said, "Is it true? You got rejected from Harvard too?" "Twice," I told her. "But you came back." I came back. And now, I'm making sure girls like you never get rejected for looking like me. She cried. I cried. We sat in my office, the office I'd been told I'd never deserve, and cried together. My office today. There's a photo on my wall. Me at 18, sitting on Harvard steps, crying after being rejected. Next to it, my appointment letter, department chair, the same institution that said I wasn't good enough. Today, I got an email from someone unexpected. Subject: You changed my life. Dr. Johnson, you don't know me. My name is Marcus Thompson. I'm 19, black, from Southside Chicago. I got rejected from Harvard last week. Not the right fit, they said. I was about to give up on college altogether. Too expensive, too painful, too white. Then I saw your video, the one where you told Professor Chen about being rejected, about coming back, about becoming the chair. I cried watching it. My mom cried, my little sister cried. This morning, I applied to MIT, to your PhD program, because you showed me that rejection isn't the end, it's fuel. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for making them say your name. Thank you for showing kids like me that we belong. Marcus. I forwarded the email to Professor Chen with one line: "This is why we do the work." He replied immediately: "This is why I'm learning to be better." The lecture. Finally. 6 months after the incident, I gave my quantum physics lecture. Same hall, different energy. 300 students, but now 40% were students of color. Because word had spread, Harvard was changing. Today, I began, we're going to talk about quantum superposition, the idea that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. I paused. But before we dive into physics, I want to talk about human potential, about how society tries to observe us, to collapse us into single, limited states. You're not smart enough. You don't belong here. You should work in the cafeteria. The students, including Professor Chen, sitting in the back taking notes, listened intently. But here's what they don't understand. Human potential, like quantum particles, exists in infinite states. We contain multitudes. We defy expectations. We refuse to collapse into their limited observations. I clicked to the next slide. Not physics formulas. A photo of that janitor from 15 years ago. A janitor once told me, make them say no so many times, work so hard, that one day you walk through that door and own the room. I don't know his name, never saw him again, but he was right. I looked around the hall, at the black students, the Latino students, the first-generation students, the ones who'd been told no. You are not defined by their observations. You define yourself. And when you walk through doors that were closed to you, you hold them open for others. That's not just physics. That's revolution. The hall erupted in applause. Not polite applause, thunder. Professor Chen stood, started a standing ovation. And I finally let myself feel it. Pride, healing, victory. Not over them, over the doubt, over the fear, over every voice that said I wasn't enough. Final message. You know what I learned? Revenge isn't about destruction. It's about transformation. I didn't destroy Professor Chen. I gave him the chance to evolve, to be better, to use his privilege for good. And Harvard? I didn't reject Harvard back. I came back and changed it, made it better, made it wider, made room for everyone who looks like me. Because that's real power. Not closing doors that were closed to you, but kicking them open and refusing to let them close again. Today, someone is being told they're not enough, not smart enough, not polished enough, not Harvard material. Record it, share it, speak up, but more importantly, become so undeniable that they have to say your name. 15 years from now, walk back through that door, not asking for permission, owning the room. The next Dr. Maya Johnson is crying on some university steps right now. Will you be the voice that tells her to come back, or will you be the system that keeps her out? Choose carefully. The world is watching, and we're not staying silent anymore. Comment your story. Share with 3 people who need to hear this. Subscribe, because dignity is earned through excellence. The revolution isn't coming. It's here, and it looks like us.